Hello and welcome to the NFT Concerts Podcast. My name is Jimmy Dendrinos and I'll be your host. In this podcast, I'm going to introduce you to artists who release NFT concerts, as well as influential people in the music and NFT space, ideally the music NFT space. If you weren't aware, NFT Concerts is a platform that allows artists to turn their concert recordings and studio sessions into digital collectibles using non-fungible tokens. I will dive more into how the NFT Concerts platform functions later in this podcast, but to start, I'd like to share my story, how I got here, and why I decided to build NFT Concerts. I studied computer science at Santa Clara University, right in the heart of Silicon Valley. During that time, I had the opportunity to work for several tech companies. I expected to love it, and to be frank, I did not. While I always found the tech interesting, I quickly grew to dread spending my days in an office. I was looking for an out. Luckily, one of my good friends, Dave Magdeburger, was traveling from Baltimore, Maryland to Indio, California to work Desert Trip Music Festival. Dave invited me to join the crew and come work the event. Desert Trip Music Festival was affectionately nicknamed Old Cella. The first day was Bob Dylan, followed by the Rolling Stones. The second day was Neil Young, followed by Paul McCartney. And the third day, The Who opened up for Roger Waters. 2 weekends in a row, this same lineup rocked my world. The whole experience opened up my eyes and really gave me direction. I had no idea you could get paid to work at music festivals, and to me, it was much preferable towards working in an office. I knew I wanted to find a way to get more involved. I moved down to San Diego a few months later, and I found a job working as an audio, video, and lighting tech. I helped set up corporate events, concerts, and most importantly, music festivals. I set up video walls, hung and programmed lights, and helped fly line arrays, those huge rows of speakers on each side of the stage. I had the opportunity to learn how almost every piece of gear on stage functions, and I got to work with top quality equipment and world-class musicians. The interesting thing about working as an audio technician is that there is very little to do during the actual show. Most of the work involves waiting until the show is ended and then helping change out equipment. I found myself sitting on stage, on the clock, and with little to do, and in a better position than the professional photographers. It wasn't long until I picked up a camera and started shooting. What started as a hobby quickly blossomed into a passion. I wanted to capture the magic of live music. I wanted people to look at the photographs I had taken, think that looks cool, and go out and buy a ticket to a show. However, the dirty secret of the production world is when you are not at an event, you are in a warehouse. While I loved learning about the gear, I did not love cleaning it. Once again, I was looking for an out. I tapped back into my food vending experience and was able to go on tour with the taco company Tika's Tacos. In 2019, I traveled from music festival to music festival, working nothing but events, serving tacos, chicken tenders, and burgers at various music festivals across the country. I had an absolute blast doing this. I was always able to find a way to get my camera into these events, to take some photographs, and to participate in the experience. I did this job right up until March of 2020, when the whole world came to a stop. I went from traveling with the summers full of gigs to being stuck at my grandparents' house in Fort Myers, Florida. While stuck in Florida, I was able to find a job right away working down the street at Apache Powerboats. I helped improve their online presence and grow their social media following. Apache Powerboats is a very unique company. They sell $2 million, 47-foot long carbon fiber and Kevlar powerboats to some of the biggest criminals in the world. Talking John Gotti, Meyer Lansky, the corrupt president of Haiti, King Carlos of Spain, George Bush Sr., the Shah of Iran. It was rather unique clientele with some very interesting history. However, this was pretty much the peak of the pandemic. At this time, I effectively went to work and I went home. And I generally put on concert recordings to relive those great memories from being on tour. Luckily, during my time in the production world, I had managed to collect a number of unreleased multicam recordings that have really proved to be a major inspiration for this business. While it was an interesting experience working for Apache, I don't love powerboats and I'm not the biggest fan of Southwest Florida. Once again, I moved back to San Diego, I found a job that could pay the bills, and I began looking for an opportunity for myself. It was around February of 2021 that I first heard of NFTs, thanks to an Instagram post from one of my favorite artists, Grammatic. Grammatic was able to replace his full year's worth of missed touring salary with a successful NFT auction. He encouraged artists to check out NFTs. I, too, had suffered from the inability to go on tour, so I instantly looked into NFTs. I was a nerdy kid in high school, and I had found Bitcoin at $70 a coin. At the time, I had a small investment portfolio, and I was seriously considering purchasing 10 Bitcoins for $700. At the last second, I chose not to pull the trigger. Sitting there in 2021 with Bitcoin well on its way to $50,000 a coin, I recognized that looking at NFTs now was just like looking at Bitcoin then. I knew I was not going to let this opportunity slip by. Just 3 days after seeing that post, I purchased the domain www.nftconcerts.com. I almost immediately began to brainstorm how to mix concert recordings and NFTs. I initially set out with the goal of building a concert marketplace using NFTs, and when I first dove into development, things were still very difficult. It was all rather complex, and there were very little tools and very little information available to builders. I decided that my best course of action would be to market the idea in an attempt to lure an investor or attract an investor that could pay to have it built out. I focused mainly on LinkedIn as I wanted to build a business. Over the course of the year, I marketed the idea to the best of my abilities, all the while growing my personal NFT knowledge. While I managed to attract some followers, had a few podcast features, and even had an article written about me, over the course of that year, I realized that I was no closer to having a functioning platform. I decided that I simply needed to figure out how to build NFT concerts myself. I relaunched into the build starting in February of this year and have been programming ever since. When I started building again in 2022, I was greeted by a whole new world of accessible, digestible content as well as tools that made working with NFTs and building an NFT application much more simple. While it took some time to come together, the NFT Concerts beta launched September 1st. It's been open to the public since October 1st. As I've taken time to build out the NFT Concerts platform, I have become firm in my belief that NFTs are the perfect solution to monetizing concert recordings. Concert recordings are incredibly powerful content, but it is niche content. A small group of people will place significant value on a concert recording, but concert recordings as a whole struggle to attract the widespread attention needed to generate significant revenue on current content distribution platforms. Prior to NFT concerts, the options for artists to release their concert recordings pretty much came down to YouTube and SoundCloud. These platforms pay out artists on a per stream basis. If you're not getting plays, you're not getting paid. This doesn't really work for niche content like concert recordings. If an artist gets 100,000 views on YouTube, they're only going to generate about $500 in ad revenue. The NFT Concerts platform turns that public content into exclusive content. An artist can release an NFT concert with just 10 copies at a price point of $50 each and generate their $500. Now, only those 10 people can watch the content instead of 100,000 people. And if an artist chooses to set a resale fee, they can continue to generate revenue on these performances as long as they continue to get traded and sold amongst their fans. We are going to prove this model with independent artists. And to start, I'd like to introduce you to an independent artist who is the star of NFT Concert #1, Babs.0. Babs was recently in San Diego, so I got to sit down with him in person to do this first interview. Please bear with us as the audio is a little rough. I definitely plan to upgrade the audio equipment as the NFT Concerts podcast continues to grow. And I promise to stop tapping on the table. All right, I'm here with JB, otherwise known as Babs.0, the star of NFT Concert #1. He is here live in California, of all places. So, JB, to get started, tell me a bit about like your musical history, how you got started with playing music, what are your music roots?
Okay, thanks for having me. It's cool to be part of something new, something exciting, and something that will potentially be taken up by the masses in the next few years in a way that is so utility they're not going to be able to avoid it. It feels like inevitable. So it's sick to have a hand in helping that push in whatever small, gentle way. But yeah, I've been doing my own stuff as Babs.0 for this since 2020. That was my, first solo artist kind of experience. I make all the music and record it, produce it all myself, and write it all myself. And sometimes I work with other musicians and get them on the tracks. But these days, I got a studio in my house, so making all the beautiful music.
The house is the Pickle Factory. That is the location of NFT Concert #1, correct?
Actually, that was my old apartment.
Oh.
That's how long ago I made the NFT Concert one. It's about November of 2021. Wow. I recorded it all in my last apartment, which is in Troy, New York, upstate Albany area. Now I live further north on the Hudson River in a place called Cohoes. And we've outfitted our current house situation into a full functioning recording studio called the Pickle Factory. Trying to make it like a media center as well, get some really cool visual stuff going. And yeah, just really, really pushing the creative boundaries that I think I always wanted to be wrapped up in, I guess. Yeah, it's been a really cool journey of growing and developing myself and like my abilities, and now creating a community of people who can kind of collab and work together on musical, visual, audio, video effects, YouTube, everything you could imagine. Get into AI art now, dude. Oh my God, yeah. The Creation Station's powerful force at the Pickle Factory.
Throw your AI art, moniker. Do you want to share it?
Reckless Barb.
Reckless Barb.
It's my AI art moniker. It's probably going to become my full artist moniker at some point. Yeah. Nice. The transformation's really,
So you dove into NFTs pretty early. Like you sold a song as an NFT. Kind of tell us a bit about your history with NFTs, kind of what you see the future of the technology being, and like kind of what you view it as an artist. Is it a tool? Is it a scam?
Yeah.
I know you personally had, your account compromised.
Yeah, dumb.
So
I made the classic Discord chat mistake. I feel like I've seen other people who have run into that where
absolutely,
you got an issue in the Discord, someone pretends to be a moderator, then they message you, and then they steal your NFTs. And I mean, what I lost was the money that I bought the NFTs with, because they're literally worthless now. So it's not like I lost potential value, I guess, which is...
But still, that's the danger of the technology. If you don't secure your stuff, be extremely careful when dealing with like NFTs, cryptocurrency. There's a lot of like illegitimate sites out there, illegitimate people, and once they get your stuff, it's unfortunately extremely hard to recover any of it. But the technology, from the technical side, it's opening up like a whole new world of monetization avenues for artists such as yourself. You can now turn your like AI generated art, your physical, photos, music, and now full concerts. So
yeah, big time.
And then kind of also wanted to mention, what are you doing here in San Diego? What brought you out?
A once in a lifetime opportunity to see some of my favorite artists ever and experience them at the festival called Desert Days.
Nice.
Which is is it Lake Paris or just Paris, California?
Lake Paris,
dude. Holy shit, this place is crazy. I went there for Saturday. Tame Impala's Lonerism 10-year anniversary, full run-through performance, headlining. Kikigaku Moyo. Dude, my heart is so fucking full for the experience that I had this weekend at this festival. I feel like a brand new person. I feel amazing. I'm so excited to take this energy, bring it back home to the Pickle Factory, start working, going hard with artists, and just making dreams come true to the absolute fullest extent from every angle. It's going down. That's what brought me to California. I needed to have that experience.
So I actually dropped Babs off at Desert Days without a tent, with pretty much just a blanket and a backpack, and dropped him off Saturday morning and picked him up Sunday morning.
Yep.
And he was looking very fulfilled when I picked him up.
It's so full.
His heart was full.
Yeah. That's, I feel like there's something about California for me, just being a New York guy and coming through, especially San Diego, especially Southern California. It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen, but really it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever felt, like, in general.
Definitely, yeah. A good laid back vibe down here,
Yeah.
Relaxed.
Laid back, but like somehow
motivating.
Yeah, motivating in the coolest way.
Yes. You can't just sit around and do nothing. You got to, produce something.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Mm-hmm. And then you have a unique history with music festivals. I think your experience with festivals is probably different from most music fans or artists. I think, you want to share kind of how, your experiences.
Yeah, totally. I feel so connected to music festivals. I always, when I was a kid in high school, I literally remember being like 10th grade, 11th grade. I thought music festivals was like Woodstock 69, and that's all it was. And I was so ignorant to the world that exists of like literally this one TV station completely changed my life in that way. I think it was called Palladia back in the day. They used to have live concerts, full festivals, like going from like, artist plays a song and they show a different song on a different stage, and like my mind was just being absolutely blown by the size of those crowds, everything about it. So I ended up going to a few festivals for fun back in the early 2010s, 2013, 2014, I think was my first music festival experience. Went to Firefly in Delaware.
Nice. That's one of my first ones too.
Yeah, it's a good starter.
Yeah.
At least it was back in the day.
It still is.
Still is.
Young.
And then did Firefly 2 more times the following 2 years. And then 2016, I was going into my junior year of college that year, I want to say. Actually, I think I was going into my senior year of college. So I'm going into my senior year. Maybe, whatever, time frame, irrelevant. 2016, I'm on Craigslist looking for jobs because, I don't know, jobs seem to be like not great for me. I wasn't having a lot of fun. I wasn't enjoying myself, nor was I making that much money. So whatever, let's see what's out there. So went on Craigslist, saw some music festival, food vending gig, 2 hours away, Mysteryland, New York. Skrillex was headlining. Seemed like a good time. And that's the rest of my life for a few years, honestly. It was pretty crazy because...
So you went on tour with this photography company doing how many festivals a year would you...
I in 2018, I did 26 festivals.
In a single year. So you're going from festival to festival across the entire United States.
That's right. Hitting it all, seeing it all. I had a van. I was living out of a van that year. Yeah, that was crazy. Really interesting to be a part of the economy of music in that way.
Absolutely.
I really felt like, being a part of bringing all these people together is so exciting to me, and just like being in that world.
Being one small cog in that giant machine that like makes it happen, like all those little pieces that come together to, create an event and, to take part and kind of, own the experience and help provide that experience for people. It's kind of very unique in whatever manner you're doing it.
For sure.
And then you were saying that this Desert Days was the first music festival that you went to for fun
since 2016.
Since
Firefly.
2016.
Literally. I didn't even frame it like that in my own mind going into it, but to think about what that means to me personally, it was just the ultimate, like, I've had a million festival experiences all revolving around my personal exhaustion and like working hard, you know what I mean, out there hitting it super hard. And then to just go for nothing but pure fun and bliss was just like the ultimate release, the ultimate like coming together. And now I'm ready for the ultimate path forward, like from this. It's really beautiful.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So definitely go check out Babs' NFT Concert. NFT Concert #1. It's the first ever content on the platform. It will be there forever. There are only 44 copies remaining as of this moment right now. So out of 50 total. So be sure to go get one right now.
Yep.
Own a piece of music history. Unlock this guy's personal studio performance. It's about 17 minutes long. It's 3 songs. And it's very intimate, very unique. And when I came up with the NFT Concerts idea in my head, I all along had live concerts as the concept. And I sent this to Babs, and he recorded a show and submitted it. And it was a totally like, I thought he was going to be playing at a bar or a venue, and he'd been doing a little bit of that. And instead it's just a pure studio session. And it really kind of opened my mind up to what is an NFT concert? What can this be? What can this unlock? And so the only way to ever see that studio session is to mint that NFT through the platform.
Literally.
And and comparing it to uploading it to YouTube and everything, on those 6 minutes, we paid you the equivalent of like 80,000 streams on YouTube. So
it's unreal.
Yeah. So the payout for artists and everything, benefits artists and opens up a whole new world of like digital collectible concerts. So
big time, dude.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Can I add a word?
Absolutely. Please.
I just feel like the technology and the potential to, as an artist, connect with people who like your music or even beyond it, like are discovering your music. It creates a really cool sense of personalized connection with those people. And I know there's some artists that I personally love to have that intimate experience with, I guess.
Absolutely.
Even like across the world or something, it's just like absolutely unbelievable to think about what this could mean for like the fan artist connection. I think there's like something beautiful there.
I mean, talking about across the world, NFT Concert #2 was submitted all the way from India, and we'll feature that artist on the next podcast. But this is a truly global platform, and you can take your live music that you're performing in New York, and I have the ability to enjoy it here in San Diego, and keep that connection to what's going, your music to here. Music is the great synchronizer, so to bring it available globally is just kind of like the next step in all this. So thank you again for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Go mint NFT Concert #1.015 ETH on NFTconcerts.com. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Boom. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Once again, a big thank you to Babs.0 for both submitting NFT Concert #1 and participating in the first NFT Concerts podcast. Before the break, I was talking about why NFTs might be a good solution for concert recordings. To close, I'm going to talk about why concert recordings, and particularly the NFT Concerts platform, is going to be good for NFTs. There's this great tweet that I really like. I'm going to quote it now. Ryan Anderson on Twitter said the NFT space is like cavemen inventing the wheel and then only using it for roulette. Right now, there's a big problem with people like trying to get rich quick off of essentially crappy cartoons. I don't want to like discourage anyone from releasing an NFT or criticize any particular NFT project, but there have been a number of rugs, scam projects, and people using NFTs to effectively take money off their community. NFT Concerts is not that. We are completely different. And a big part of the reason that we're different is where the value of that NFT comes from. It comes from the concert itself. It comes from that live music experience. As long as there's demand to access that concert recording, there will be demand for that token. Token gated content is the simplest form of utility, and it's instantly transferred upon the event of a sale. A lot of NFT projects are giving out physical merchandise. If you sell your NFT, it's very hard to give that physical merchandise that came along with it. Oftentimes, it's just kept by the person who held the NFT during that drop. Same thing goes for airdrops, where there's actual NFTs given out. Those stay with the holder or the owner of the NFT at the time of release. NFT Concerts uses token gated content. So you have to own the NFT in order to access the concert recording. This creates a very powerful incentive to hold that token. If you sell it, you can no longer watch the show. If you want to watch a show at any point in the future, you have to own that token. It's also a very interesting way of investing in artists without artists foregoing any potential revenue or income themselves. If I buy a small concert recording for a band that I think is fantastic, and then in 3 years they headline Coachella, I can guarantee that small recording is going to sell for more than I paid for it, especially if it's an extremely limited quantity. Say there are only 10 copies. Imagine how much you'd pay to have a copy of the Beatles performing in a nightclub in Hamburg, 1960. This is that technology, and ideally and hopefully, and not hopefully, it's purely a matter of time till we have somebody release an NFT concert while they're relatively small and see that same artist progress and explode in their career. And then you've got that very unique moment that you own forever. As I mentioned, this is an NFT. If you're not familiar with NFTs, I like to say that an NFT, especially when using NFT Concerts, is a return to the standard of physical media where you pay once and you get to stream it unlimited times. Not only can you stream it unlimited times, but you could give it to a friend. You could send it to them, or you could sell it. I invite you to go on Apple TV or Amazon and please go try and sell one of your movies that you've purchased, or even just try and send it to a friend. You can't. There's no options. Those platforms are gated exclusively to themselves. However, if you buy an NFT from NFT Concerts, that NFT, it's a static image. So it looks like the backstage pass almost. And if you own that static image, you can go and sell it on OpenSea for the price you're choosing, or Looks Rare, or X2Y2, or any number of third-party Ethereum-compatible NFT marketplaces. So even if NFT Concert shuts down, that NFT will live on. In order to access that full concert footage, you will need to come register an account at NFTconcerts.com, no matter where you purchase the token NFT. Once you register an account, your full library of owned NFT concerts will be visible in your account page. Simply click on one of them to start playing the full recording. As I mentioned before, you can sell these, and then as soon as you sell them, you'll see it instantly disappear from your library, and it'll appear in the person who bought it from you's library. If you try and access the player by going to the direct link, you will find that you're no longer able to access the content. I encourage artists out there who are curious about this technology to maybe give it a shot. The upload process is super, super simple. If you can upload to YouTube, you have all the technical skill set needed to create an NFT concert. And I personally will help support any upload process or any problems that you may have. we're looking to grow this platform as soon as possible and as quickly as possible. We also want to do it in the right way. So there are a few small rules right now that we hope to modify. If you are interested in creating an NFT concert, those rules simply are it needs to be 100% original content that you own. We need permanent rights to that piece of content, including all the rights to play the songs that were performed in that act. Right now, this works best with independent musicians, and once we prove the model, we will be paying the right attorneys to figure out how to pay out proper rights holders. Everything's above board. Everything is completely legitimate. This is a toolkit for artists and a release strategy for artists that we will hope will pave waves for many years to come. I like to say the more artists can earn from their music, the more they can focus on music. And the more of these Web3 tools that artists dive into, ideally more and more musicians will be able to focus on music full time. This is, while superstars are more than welcome to come to our platform, I really built this for independent musicians with a, growing and passionate fan base. I'd invite you all to come check out the NFT Concerts platform. If you run into any issues, please email me or email info@nftconcerts.com. I'm happy to provide support. And if you have a bug that you may be encountering, any reports that come in that I can address really help. As I mentioned, I built this whole application myself. It's not perfect. It's obviously improving. And I want to make it as good as possible. And the easiest way to improve is to get feedback. So I'm looking for feedback on the platform. I'm looking for people to start collecting these concerts, and I'm really looking for artists who are willing to jump in here with me and release their shows as digital collectibles. Thank you so much for listening to the first NFT Concerts podcast. I would encourage you to subscribe through whatever podcast player you are using now. Additionally, please go follow us on our social media channels, Twitter, Instagram. We're on pretty much all of them. And yes, so I promise future NFT Concerts podcasts won't be as pitch-like. This is obviously the first one. We will get more into the weeds with what's happening with other companies in the music NFT space, in the NFT space in general, and just important events that are happening with live music. Thank you again. Do not hesitate to reach out. Again, that email is info@nftconcerts.com. And enjoy your day and rock on.